This is Jed McKay, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Hi, this is Devamalya Pramanik, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. Returning again. It's been a while. It's been a minute. I'm your host, Ray. I am flying solo here. Look, my fault. Scheduling has been quite difficult. Only, look, not giving excuses, but 2 young kids, daylight saving. It's hard to get bedtime routines early enough to actually do a podcast. So I am doing this, kicking off at, as we speak, 11 o'clock at night. So I wanted to get something out. Apologies, Rebecca isn't here. Rebecca and I were planning to review this appearance of Moon Knight together. However, we could only kind of hook up on the weekends, and that kind of flew past. Wasn't able to sync our time windows together. So you've got your rambling Ray here. I hope I can give you some comfort as you're driving, or as you're gymming, or as you're mowing the lawn, or whatever. But always good to have you back here, loonies. Always good to be back. I just had a look as well. My gosh. End of July was our last episode. So that's what, August, September, good full 2 months and a bit. But hopefully, again, striving for regularity. Actually, speaking of which, I must say, I submit this episode to Khonshu. Hopefully he will take it on board, because it is a super new moon, a super full moon, I think, at the moment. Hopefully still is by the time that you hear this. And what Rebecca and I had been talking about was, since we are not as regular as we would like to be, if we can aim for at least an episode every full moon, so you'll have your Moon Knight goodness on a full moon. Go check out your calendars. Go, look at your tea leaves at some ancient ruins, and mark down in your calendars when a full moon is in the sky. That's hopefully when we will drop our shows. So that's about one show a month. Let's just, batten the hatches and see, until our availability it becomes a little bit more regular. We can hopefully get the show on a bit more of a regular basis. But we've got plenty of comics to catch up on. We've got the fantastic series by Jed McKay, of course, and Domenico Carbone. We haven't forgot about that. We will be looking at those issues. We might be doing a couple at a time just to try and catch up. But I wanted to really look at the latest iteration of Moon Knight, which came on screen in what I'm going to look at tonight, which is Marvel Zombies 2025. So this was fun. For those that haven't watched it, there will be spoilers. So please stop this now and go watch it. There are only 4 episodes. I actually watched episode 1. And then I think the next night I ended up watching all 3 of the other remaining episodes, because I was just enjoying it. It's not that long. I think it's kind of like a big movie. Just about over 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe. But yes, it has the appearance of an iteration of Moon Knight. We've got Blade Knight. So let me just read out some things here. Got to make it official. Look, if you want a full in-depth review, I've got to give props to TV Podcast Industries. They're Derek, John, and Chris. Go check them out. They've been covering shows for many years. They're fantastic. We've collaborated over the years. Can't give enough love to those guys. Go check out a formal, proper, yet still entertaining and fun review of Marvel Zombies over there. They've got a whole swag of other shows that they've been doing as well. Anyway, so we have director here, Bryan Andrews. And we've got stories by Bryan Andrews. We've got like the writers, Zeb Wells, you would know from the comics, Steve Englehart. Oh, no, that's sorry. He created Shang-Chi. The supervisor, John Roth. Then in the cast, we've got a cast of thousands here. Fantastic. We've got Kamala Khan, Iman Vellani, Todd Williams is Blade Knight, which is the iteration of Moon Knight that we'll be focusing on in this discussion. Then we have the likes of Simu Liu, Shang-Chi, Aquafina, Katie Chen. Props out here for Zombie Okoye. It is not the actress who plays in the MCU. It is Kenna Ramsey. She does a fantastic job. David Harbour, Alexei Shostakov, or Red Guardian. Elizabeth Olsen, who more recently said she couldn't remember what she did and what the story was because she did it like over 2 years ago. But Elizabeth Olsen is in it as, of course, the main antagonist, Wanda Maximoff, the Red Queen. Hudson Thames fills in for Tom Holland as Peter Parker Spider-Man. He does a great job. We've got Paul Rudd doing Scott Lang. We got Randall Park, Jimmy Woo. It's fantastic. Adam Hugel does the voice of Rintrah. It was really good to see Rintrah, the Sorcerer Supreme in this iteration. Then there's Sarah and London Master, Daniel Swain and Sheila Atom. I'm assuming they were some of the other sorcerers that were helping Rintrah. Florence Pugh, Yelena Belova, or the White Widow. We have Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop, she came in. Dominique Thorne, of course, Riri Williams, Ironheart, she just had her show not that long ago. Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie. Then we've got Baron Zemo, not again the actor. His name eludes me. It is Rama Valuri. He does more than ample. He does a more than ample replacement, as does Greg Furman for Thor's voice. I actually thought that was Chris Hemsworth, but it isn't. Who else do we have? Fyodor Chin. He does Wenwu. So for those who love the Shang-Chi, that was Shang-Chi's dad. Wyatt Russell, of course, as John Walker, U.S. agent. He's in there. F. Murray Abraham as Khonshu. There he is. And then there were a whole cast of additional voices. Fantastic work overall. So where should I start? I haven't really scripted this at all, but I just wanted to give my first impressions again as a basic summary for the show. We're in like a zombie apocalypse, and it opens up with Kamala Khan, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and Riri Williams. They're seemingly quite tight, have become good friends, and they're kind of just trying to survive. We don't know what's happened yet, but they just kind of walk through the wastelands, come across a special device, which which has been Pym particled and reduced in size. That could potentially be the answer to everything, salvation for the world. They get attacked by a zombie Hawkeye, so we see some Avengers that have been zombified, as well as various other characters as well. I won't go into all the details, but what happens is along the way they come across, well, after an incident, Kate Bishop and Riri unfortunately do not survive, but Kamala Khan is rescued by Blade Knight. And so Blade Knight, we get a short little history of him. He's basically an amalgamation. In the animation, he looks like Mahershala Ali. And Todd Williams does a fantastic job with the voicing, makes him really sound, I don't know, like Blade, maybe even Mahershala. But yes, so we get a short little glimpse into Blade Knight. He mentions that he took over from the Avatar when the Avatar succumbed to, I guess, the plague, the zombies. So Mark Spector didn't make it, but Khonshu chose Blade to take up the mantle. So we've got like a an amalgamation, if you will, like a stronger Moon Knight. Is actually like a Daywalker plus the avatar of Vengeance, which is kind of funny as well because, with Jed McKay's run, I don't know whether this is kind of a indirect kind of reference to it. It's funny because Jed has established, like, with vampires in the Marvel Universe, Moon Knight's relationship with them. So Tudor, I think, was the name of the early villain, who was like the head kind of vampire. Obviously, Reese is part of the congregation. A soldier is the vampire. So it's pretty funny that Blade, who was a vampire, is now also like Moon Knight. Although he's never really, I don't think, named in the show, but he's gone by the title of Blade Knight in the credits. So we get him a nice introduction to him. And yeah, he's kind of like the stoic. To me, he's really cool because he's like on the fringe. Like, you have your likes of Kamala Khan, Riri, and Kate Bishop together, right, for the beginning. Then basically when Blade Knight rescues Kamala Khan, they go to visit like this stronghold, which was super cool. Like, Blade is on this bike, and the headlights shine up, and there's a wall of zombies, and that was a nice little shock to have. But they're all being controlled by the other group in the stronghold, which is essentially the Widow family. You got Red Guardian, Yelena, and the Mum, who was played by Rachel Weisz in the MCU, and I don't know whether did I pick up her name here. Oh, that could be Sarah, actually. The what I mentioned could be her. That I forgot her name, but I think it's her. Unless it's Sandra, which I don't think so. I think it might be Sarah. So yeah, that was she was voiced by Sheila Atim. Atim. Anyway, so then you have the other group, which is established, like, as I mentioned, Red Guardian, Yelena, Sarah, let's call her Sarah. And they're kind of, from pretty much the Black Widow movie. Then you also have, let me just track forward a bit more. Then later on, we bounce into what seems to be like a fortress of Asgardians with Valkyrie and Thor. But see, Blade Knight doesn't seem to fit in any of them. He's there. He seems pretty unbeatable. Like, he seems pretty strong, and he's right on top of what he needs to do. But he's just not part of any team. He's your typical lone wolf. So I found that really cool about him. And I'm just going to jump to it now. I thought there's some really cool bits. I'll play for audio listeners, and I'll show on the video a couple of short clips. I hope it doesn't get cut off by YouTube from the series, and we can have a look there. So anyway, I'm going to jump a bit ahead here. Oh, no, actually, let me just play this clip. So this clip is one of the early, pretty cool. You've probably seen it if you've been trawling the internet, but this is Blade Knight versus what happens. They come across, again, a whole horde of zombies, and we've got Ghost as well. So Ghost from the Thunderbolts is a zombie, and she does crazy things. So this was when they attack the fortress of the Widows, like, Red Guardian and Yelena and Sarah. So this is Blade Knight in action. Get a load of this. It's pretty cool.
Whoa, that's how you do that then.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty much Blade Knight in a nutshell. Has the blade, like Blade, of course, can totally take on seemingly any enemy, because Ghost was pretty formidable in that instance. She was killing a lot of the, I guess, the grunts of the widow stronghold. She was phasing in and out. She was biting them. She was like dismembering them. So when she caught up with the heroes, yeah, Blade Knight pretty much took care of her. So we've basically established Blade Knight, and they go through. Essentially, the story has them like finding other groups, and the thread is Kamala needs to take this miniature device, which can apparently save the world, to outer space to the Nova Corps, and the Nova Corps know how to deal with the zombies and potentially right the wrongs of planet Earth. So the whole idea is to get into outer space. After picking up, the widows, they then what was it? They kind of then bump into. I can't quite remember now, but they bump into Baron Zemo and US Agent as well, and they kind of promise to have this kind of refuge from the zombies. They have a massive underwater ship that, although the zombies are there, right? They're actually zombies underwater. They can still keep them out, and so you're not worried about it. So they've got this. It's almost like the raft. I think it's pretty much meant to be the raft, but it's this old holding cell converted to this, I don't know, this utopia amongst the dystopia. And Baron Zemo and US Agent are there, as well as a whole community of people. It seems to be going very well until we learn that Baron Zemo is kind of leaving sacrifices to Namor, who has been zombified. And Namor is fully scary in this. Is really great. It really shows his power level, because Namor is up there. Like, he's up there with Thor and Hulk, especially in the water. So we get Namor again, the iteration of the Namor shown in the MCU, and he basically wreaks havoc. And there's a big kind of the zombies basically kind of break in. I think this is the moment, or maybe I missed it. Maybe that was in the Stronghold, where we did see Captain America, just his torso. He was kind of scuttling. It was very scary. I think that was probably earlier on. But they're basically trying to get away from Namor, and Zemo is looking for escape pods, trying to get away too. All this while that they're trying to get to outer space. But it all goes awry. Some fantastic moments in there. Again, Blade does very well just with the fighting. I think there's a bit less of him in this sequence, in the underwater sequence. He's very much kind of a bit more in the background. So if you're fully wanting to see Moon Knight front and center, you won't get it, but you do get some moments. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so anyway, there's a big fight. They escape. Namor... Kamala ends up killing him. That was pretty cool as well. He was pushing and pushing, but she managed. I think she decimates him with her powers, her bangles. Can't totally remember, but it was a good scene. They end up washed away, in escape pod. Zemo doesn't make it. US Agent doesn't make it. So there's still only a handful of them left. And I have totally glossed over in between, which I believe it was episode 2, where we established Shang-Chi and Katie Chen, and Jimmy Woo as well. So they're another group. So as I mentioned, Blade Knight is a bit on the outer. So you have that contingency as well as the widows. You have Kamala, who's now on her own, but she was part of a group. And then we have the Asgardians coming up. So Shang-Chi, really cool. I think Simu, you did a very good job, as well as Aquafina. He's got a very voice actor voice. I think yeah, I don't know whether he's done that in the past, but he could really be a professional voice actor himself. But I guess he went for Hollywood instead. So they all escape from the raft, and Namor and all that. I think Namor, as I mentioned, he dies. The whole thing explodes, something like that, and they become washed ashore, and they find themselves. I think they must have plugged in the coordinates. I think they plugged in the coordinates because you couldn't have just by happenstance. But they ended up on a shore with a huge door, and basically that's the door to the kind of proxy Asgard with Valkyrie there. There's a bit of a spiel of what happened to Thor. Then we also get kind of a bit more about why the world is the world as it is, and we learn more and more about Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. I don't want to get too much into. There's so many like little tangents that go off into it, but essentially it involves the Infinity Gauntlet that got shattered. I'm going to have to explain it because it happens towards the climax anyway. Black Panther gave his life to save everyone, but as the Infinity Gauntlet shattered and the stone shattered, it caused a massive disruption to the world, which caused this kind of new reality with zombies, not only zombies, but with the Red Queen, Wanda, doing really bad things by turning people into zombies. So anyway, so they reach Asgard. We do see a disheveled Thor because he kind of got a little bit unhappy, similar to the MCU when he didn't defeat Thanos, as the zombie Thanos, as much as he could. So he's kind of almost in a catatonic state. Anyway, this was a great moment, I think, as well, because Valkyrie introduces Kamala and the group to Wanda. Wanda's been there, and she's looking all kind of happy and love bombing everyone. But turns out that it's all an illusion, and she's what seems like an Asgardian feast. She's feeding everyone zombie body parts to turn them into zombies, which is very bad. And unfortunately, Red Guardian, he eats some of it, so he eventually becomes a zombie. In this melee, Death Dealer, unfortunately, Jimmy Woo, they all die once everyone starts turning into zombies, and again they have to run and escape. Death Dealer doesn't make it, so doesn't Jimmy Woo, which is a shame because he was quite funny, he was quite good. But they do manage to commandeer a ship that will be able to take them to outer space. So with the help of Valkyrie and with the help of Thor. So there's a nice little heroic moment there where Thor regains his composure. Like it looks like he's going to be swarmed by zombies, but Thor takes on Wanda himself, and it's truly a nice monumental battle between the two because they're such powerhouses. But he essentially saves the group by telling them to flee whilst he holds off Wanda. And we later see what happens to him. At this stage as well, Moon Knight or Blade Knight, again, pretty much in the background, not doing much. He's killing a lot of people. He's doing what he needs to do. Again, he seems pretty confident and on top of what he needs to do. But yeah, he's pretty much just in support here. We do see, I think it is in this scene with the Asgardians. I'm pretty sure it is. I could have messed this up. Please tell me if I have. But we do get Khonshu here. And one of the great things here was, I'm not entirely sure this was in the Asgardian scene. I'm playing this all off memory, folks. So anyway, we do see Khonshu. It's funny, like it is F. Murray Abraham as the voice, but he sounds different. I mean, his voice isn't manipulated like it is in the Moon Knight TV show. So it kind of doesn't totally sound like him. That was just me. Maybe I have to watch it again. But you got, like, in the music and the soundtrack as well, the score, you get the glimpse of the Moon Knight soundtrack, which was really cool. So that was a nice little touch to have that. And it was good to see Khonshu because at this stage, we know that Khonshu is protecting Blade Knight, and he's pretty much like Khonshu can bring him back, right? So he's pretty much immortal, right? You think? Um, so anyway, so they've got the ship. Thor lets them, escape, and they go up and they meet the Nova Corps. They've got the device. You think it's all hunky dory, but I love this little turn where this is it a MacGuffin? Is what they call it. This little thing of hope, this little device, transmitting device, because it turns out that Valkyrie does use it, but she can actually just call the Nova Corps. So she uses it to get the frequency or whatever, and she transmits that out once they are in space, and the Nova Corps are there in full force, similar to what you see in the Guardians movie. So anyway, it all turns pear-shaped when the Nova Corps basically say to protect the universe, they have to contain the threat of Earth, basically, so that they can't let anyone leave Earth. They're not looking to fix it. They're just looking to contain it and just, let it be. So they give an ultimatum to the group in the ship, and they blow it up. They basically say, return back to Earth or you're going to get shot into pieces. And they do that. And another cool moment from Blade Knight is, I find one of the highlights is when they're falling and re-entering Earth's atmosphere. Like they're all falling and tumbling as you do, some of them semi-skydiving, but Blade Knight is just falling vertically with his arms crossed, looking as comfy as anything. Not worried that he's falling, just striking a pose. The cape is flapping up above him and he's just plummeting, but he's doing it in style. I loved that little touch of Blade Knight. So again, he's like the cool one. He's the cool one in the group. He's a stoic, cool one. So they return to Earth. And then kind of you fast forward a bit. I've got like only one other clip here, so I'm going to show it soon. It is it's basically the climax with Sawanda. She wants the power of the Infinity Stones as well. And what has happened, which is why I had to explain a little bit of it, is that the Hulk, Bruce Banner, or the Hulk now, is still alive. He is turned into basically this battery, because we know Hulk can absorb radiation. He's become what's known as, I think he was referred to as the cipher or the siphon, and he's been containing, like when that explosion happened, when Black Panther sacrificed himself to decimate Thanos, and that explosion of Infinity Stones came to be. Hulk absorbed all that, and he's still holding it. So he's all powerful. He's got the Infinity Stones. I don't know how he's doing it. It's the alternate reality. He's got the Infinity Stones absorbed, and he's just pulsing with power. And this is what Wanda wants. So she makes her way towards it, and the heroes find out about this, and they try to stop him. And so Wanda throws everything she can. There's a really cool fight scene where Hulk takes on hundreds and hundreds of zombies, but he just like swats them away. So she's got an army of thousands. She throws a whole heap of them at him. Even the zombie abomination, I don't think he even lasts against the Hulk, because the Hulk's got the Infinity Stones, right? So she throws everything at him. And just the sheer amount of them, they start to kind of get to Hulk and tire him a little. So he's got scratches and they're slowly healing, but he is being hurt by these thousands and thousands of zombies. The heroes come in to protect Hulk, to make sure that he is not hurt, that he can recover and essentially defeat Wanda. So she throws everything back at them. And what we see is, at first, she throws all the heroes that died along the way, like the Red Guardian, Yelena. Oh, I forgot to mention, Yelena died. she stayed in the raft to let the others escape. So she died there as a true hero. Red Guardian, because he ate the zombie flesh. And then you have her bringing in the likes of Thor. So Thor has been zombified, and he's big trouble, right? So he's very powerful. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to play it here as well. He smites Blade Knight. So let's have a look at this little clip. Yeah, that was a pretty short end to Blade Knight. Essentially, Thor rained down zombified, augmented thunder with a little bit of wonder chaos magic there. And yeah, he got incinerated. So things weren't looking good. There's a nice little sequence there as well where I haven't got the clip, but he does fight the ant. I think it was Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp. He manages to splice them in two. That's how kind of accurate and cool a fighter is. But he buys it there. So I don't know. Khonshu will. He could still probably bring him back, right? So that's not a problem. But in this instance, hopefully he'll be back in. I think they've got a season 2 coming, so hopefully he'll be back for season 2. But there you have it. So yeah, then I mean that's the end of Blade Knight essentially. What happens after that? Kamala strikes a deal with Wanda, who seems to have some sort of use for Kamala. And so it looks like she absorbs the Hulk, but she also takes Kamala's hand, and we're kind of whisked into Kamala waking up and seemingly back to normal. She's got her friends Riri and Kate just outside. They're having like, I can't remember what they call them, but we call them bubble tea here in Australia. I think that's what they're having. So it's got like a milk tea drink with little gelatinous bubbles at the bottom. I think that's what it is they're having. I don't know. But anyway, she's happily living her life, but she does get glimpses still. So I don't know why, but she does get glimpses into the actual reality. And there's actually Riri's not sitting next to her. There's Riri in her Ironheart suit calling out to her to help her. And there are flashes of her fighting zombies in this darkened street. So you get the sense that is the reality, and Kamala's had the wool pulled over her eyes, and that ends the series. Very stark. I thought it had this kind of weight of dread and gloom hanging over all 4 episodes, which I think is exactly what you want for an apocalyptic dystopian zombie show, right? The Walking Dead did it fantastically, in the first few seasons. And I think Marvel Zombies captures that really well. It was great to hear like all the voices, essentially, like all the, even as I mentioned, I was duped. I thought Chris Hemsworth did Thor, but David Harbour, Florence Pugh, Simu Liu, Iman Vellani, they're all fantastic. Haley Steinfeld as well. Is really cool to hear to see Kate Bishop again, because we haven't seen her in a while. Riri, she's pretty cool. We've seen her in the TV show, but yeah, it was really good to see and kind of tie them together. And although it's an animation, I know I at least got drawn into it, and it's kind of almost like seeing those movie celebrities all together, which was really, really cool. Incidentally, it's really funny because Elizabeth Olsen was saying that she couldn't remember much of her dialogue that she did, and that she recorded it isolated. I think this was might have been even over 2 years ago. She recorded it in her kitchen. She said she didn't even get into a studio to do it. So, but it sounds seamless. It sounds pretty cool. So, it's just amazing how the magic works. Anyway, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to season 2. If you read the comics, don't compare. Stop comparing comics and what's on the silver screen or the small screen. They're always going to be different. They're going to be elements of similarity, but they're not meant to be identical, right? I mean, this is the whole reason why we have a totally different Moon Knight on the TV show to the Moon Knight that we love in the comics. And whether you like it or you hate it, it is what it is. I always kind of keep the two separate. It's fun to see elements of your favorite comic characters in these TV shows or cartoon shows, but they're not going to be the same, right? So that's how I take it. Anyway, I've forgotten the whole reason why I was rambling that angle, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it had some nice ties. I'll read now to you. I did ask Rebecca to leave some feedback because I'm really interested to hear what Rebecca had to say. So I'll read it first, and then I might just give some ratings. I don't know if she even rated it herself, but we'll see. So I've got here from Rebecca, fellow high priest. She says, enjoyed the comic. Oh, that's what I was talking about, the comics. Yeah. So the comic was great. Marvel Zombies was fantastic. I read it ages ago. But this was fresh, I've been watching much, so maybe I'm starved for small screen / movie stuff. Maybe that's why I enjoyed it. But seriously, I don't like. Yeah, I'm not going to be overcritical on it. If I enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. So anyway, I'm again rambling like a mad person. Rebecca says, I'm reading this. Enjoyed the comic. Thought I'd give the cartoon a go after Ray's prompting. Was in some ways better than I expected, but the pacing was off, and I don't always love their animation style. I remember Rebecca saying that. Good points. Seeing Riri, Kate, Kamala, Shang-Chi, Yelena, even Zemo interact in a way that felt natural within their world. Blade Knight, an interesting concept. Can see why they wanted a vampire in there, but would have quite liked Mark Moon Knight. That said, he got some of the best fights, so I'll let it slide, and Khonshu was done well. Captain America torso fight set the series off well in terms of zomcoms, but I'm not sure it held up throughout. Rintrah was a highlight. I agree too. I agree when a Minotaur tells you something, believe it. Now, the bad points that Rebecca had, the plot was all over the place to the point of eye-rolling. The ending may be open-ended to allow for a sequel, but it mostly just stopped. I expect better storytelling. Wanda as the end baddie, always. Yeah, I think that's the. Well, again, this ties into the what if, right? So this is kind of tying in with the season. I haven't even finished What If season 2, but you know how What If's kind of like serialized as well. Yeah, this ties into it, and yeah, Wanda again, the bad person. Would I watch the next series? Maybe if someone prods me. But I thought overall it had some fun bits, but wasn't entirely compelling and left on a really downbeat and random note. No, thank you, Rebecca. That was really, really interesting to hear. I know that you mentioned that you didn't really like the animation style. I thought, the downbeatedness of the ending, I thought that was the whole point. Like, the zombies, I don't know, I almost expect in zombie movies, zombie shows, that there's always going to be like sadness, and you're always going to feel at the end. So that's what I got, and that's what I enjoyed about it. Yeah, the plot was all over the place. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, of course, if it doesn't work for you, horses for courses, of course. For me, like, I just saw a lot of set pieces. It was basically, as I just highlighted now. The trio set piece with Riri, Kate, and Kamala. Then it goes to the Widows set piece, Runaway. Then it goes to Shang-Chi and Katie set piece, Runaway, but it establishes them, I guess. Then we get the Raft set piece, Runaway, Asgard set piece, Runaway. But you're kind of getting a little bit more of, you're understanding why, with the flashbacks to the zombie Thanos, and then with a bit more of Wanda. So you're getting like threads coming through it, but they were very obvious, like set pieces. And they're, for me, they were fun because they were big fights, and you get to see. I just thought the fight scenes between Wanda and Thor, and then Wanda and Hulk were like. I'm not a big anime fan by any means, but I got vibes of Akira, just like real world leveling power, like wielded at each other. So I found that really, really cool. And stuff like that, you can to an extent get it in the live action films, but I think it's a lot more visceral in animated form, and so that's what I really enjoyed about it. But yeah, Rebecca, the plot was, it did kind of plot, I guess. We moved a bit, talked a bit, stopped, big action scene, moved a bit. There was a bit of a rhythm to it. But yeah, probably could have, in 4 episodes as well. They've got a short span. If they have a sequel, I wonder if they have more. So I don't know, loonies. Anyway, that was my ramble as my 40-minute lecture on Marvel Zombies. Let us know what you think. I had a little look. I dropped a discussions thread out there on our social media. Tell us if you liked it or if you didn't. I know there were some thoughts about it in our Discord. I'll go check them out as well, or maybe I'll check them out now. While I have you, just bear with me here. I'm just going to quickly check it out, see if there's anyone has said anything, groundbreakingly. TV show. Other TV show. So OP Dogi, this is Orion. Blade Knight, Moonblade. Blade mentioned that he took the mantle when his friend and the original Avatar fell during the outbreak. Wonder if that's supposed to be a hint at Moon Knight's inclusion in a Midnight Suns lineup. Oh, yeah, maybe. I would love a Midnight Suns lineup. And just a final note here from Carpe DM. So, in the Zombieverse, Blade is Khonshu's avatar, a day-walking knight of the night. Yes, very much so. So no, let us know what you thought. I would watch it again, actually. Again, I'm in no way well versed in animation or the world of zombies, but I found this quite fun. I wouldn't mind reading. I wouldn't mind reading Marvel Zombies again. It's been a while, so I might do that too on Marvel Unlimited. But anyway, loonies, that pretty much wraps it up from me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Now, again, don't worry, we'll get another show. I'm not sure you're worried. You're probably just like, oh, cool. But there will be. Rebecca and I will try to get some shows out on the full moon. That is our goal, right? We can't do weekly ones. It doesn't seem, just with conflicting times and bedtimes and such. Even fortnightlies might be a bit hard. So we're just going to go for the full moons every month. I think the next one is, early November 5th, something like that. So we'll be back for that. Most likely, we're going to be looking to do a bit of catch up with the comics. I can't wait to talk about that again. It's been a minute. But until then, take care of yourselves, everyone. Watch some great stuff. Read some great comics. Love Moon Knight. Just keep on loving him. Until next time, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.